Well, most Americans who have been following the Iraq War know that President Bush has told a number of falsehoods leading into the conflict. But beyond that, he also continued to tell some lies that have enabled the conflict to go forward. One of those has been his assertion repeatedly that the Iraq War is the, quote, central front in the war on terror. And he's made this claim as part of the reason why the United States should stay focused on Iraq while paying less attention and committing fewer troops to Afghanistan. The problem with that is it never was really true. The CIA was intercepting documents that from al-Qaeda leaders which made clear that they saw Iraq more as a diversion while they were rebuilding their base camps and their operations in the Pakistan-Afghan border area. For instance, there was a letter that was intercepted attributed to Ayman al-Zawahiri, the second in command of al-Qaeda, who actually asked the al-Qaeda forces in Iraq under Zarqawi to send $100,000 back to Pakistan to help the headquarters of al-Qaeda, which is not the normal way you treat the Central Front. There was also a letter that was intercepted to Zarqawi from another senior al-Qaeda leader named Atiyah, and Atiyah made clear in his letter to Zarqawi that Zarqawi should go slower, that Zarqawi should not be as rash and as violent as he was, and that Zarqawi should understand that it was the view of the al-Qaeda leadership that prolonging the war in Iraq was in their interest. In other words, they were seeing Iraq as the grand diversion for the American forces, not their central front. And it's now become clearer as the violence in Afghanistan has picked up and the al-Qaeda and Taliban forces have regrouped, that their strategy is working. In his comments about Afghanistan and Iraq, Democratic presidential contender Barack Obama has picked up on much this point. He has said in both an op-ed in the New York Times and in a speech he gave this week that Iraq was never the central front in the war on terror, and that it was a mistake for President Bush to think it was. Obama's main point in his piece in the New York Times is that the U.S. has to start drawing down its forces in Iraq so it can build them up in Afghanistan. He cited comments by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mullen, that the emphasis on Iraq has made it hard to provide the reinforcements needed to make the Afghanistan war go better. If you want more details about how the Bush administration's emphasis on Iraq has caused trouble for American forces in Afghanistan and allowed al-Qaeda to regroup in Pakistan, go to consortiumnews.com and read our story, The High Cost of Bush's Iraq Gambit.